Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Audacity Magazine podcast video. Today, we are featuring Tony Jacobsen, who is a fellow OIer, and welcome.
Hi, everybody.
We're doing this video, and hopefully it's going to come out on May 6th, Wishbone Day. And he's wearing his yellow, ready for it, and his shirt, Breaking Barriers and Not Bones. I love that. That is so awesome. I've also read Tony's book that we're going to get into as well. So let's just start talking about things. First of all, Tony, you are very famous because you're always showing little things of when you are on the background of some movies or TV shows. I know we should be talking about, well, my name is, but I love this part because it means that anybody can just go and try to be in a movie. And so what happened? How'd you do that?
Well, as far as being in front of the camera, I started a long time ago because I actually did a TV show when I was a kid, just coming out of high school. I was on an episode of a TV show, and it was The New Lassie, which was a corny 90s show back in the day. And I actually had a co-star role, which was really cool. So I had the episode kind of focused around my character. I played a kid that uses a wheelchair, that plays wheelchair basketball, and I really got the part because of that. During that time, I was playing wheelchair basketball, and so I went through the audition process, and I landed the role. And so in the show, I actually play a kid that uses a chair that plays wheelchair basketball, and then I fall in love with the girl on the show. But, that's the side story. But, that's how it kind of started way back in the day. I've always, loved being in front of the camera, loved entertaining. And, I didn't pursue acting at the time because I really got into music. So my whole trajectory kind of went towards music, and I did a lot of stuff with creating music and releasing albums and DJing and doing all that sort of stuff. But just recently, probably in the last 5-6 years, gotten more back into being in front of the camera, acting, and through that, a lot of background work out here in LA. You can do a lot of background things. There's a lot of shows and movies. So I just kind of got into it.
Tell us some of them. I want to know about some of them. You show us something, and I'm like, I think you did Grey's Anatomy. Is that what it was? I did. What are some of the other ones that people would know about?
Grey's Anatomy. Most recently, you can see me really good in Black Monday on Showtime. There was a couple episodes where I'm featured in there. A movie on Netflix called Velvet Buzzsaw. I have a huge feature in that kind of near the beginning of the movie. And what other stuff? Let's see, Grey's Anatomy. I did a couple other small shows. Champions, had a good feature in that. Grey's Anatomy was one of the bigger ones. That was fun. So yeah, there's been quite a few, maybe 10 or 11 different kind of background episodes over the past couple of years.
Definitely want to see you when you're on Law and Order. That's my favorite one. So try to get yourself on Law and Order. That would be great. So now that we know that you are no stranger to the camera, and from what we can see right now, we also can't tell, you said wheelchair basketball, but do you use a wheelchair right now?
I do not. No, I basically stopped using the wheelchair kind of after high school, and really started walking on crutches during that time. And then I even got off of the crutches early 20s. I think it was 24, and got off of the crutches and actually started walking full time at that point. So yeah, I haven't played wheelchair ball in a long time. I miss it though, to tell you the truth.
You miss the wheelchair.
I miss
That's
playing.
Weird. You miss a wheelchair? Who does that? I don't know. So I wanted to also discuss something that is going to all come together, and that is you progress from wheelchair, crutches, to now you walk, but you don't have the same level that I do, correct?
Right.
So how tall are you? You're a giant.
No, I'm only, my height, I'm only 5'1", 5'2" on a good day.
Only. Meanwhile, I'm doorknob level, and you're 5 something. You're a giant in my eyes. Wow, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So, I know that you're married, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And through this entire thing, you made a book. Do you have the book with you? I want to talk about the book. There you go.
This is it.
Disable Your Disability. I've read the book.
Yes.
I just can't
Thank
reach
you.
it. It's back up there, people. And I really enjoyed it because it's speak easy, you know? I'm not reading something technical. I'm not reading a long-winded story. I felt like you were really talking from the heart about your journey, your experience, and now you're sharing this experience with other people, and you continue to help. So let's just talk about what made you say it's time to write a book.
The book really came, the impetus, I've always wanted to write a book. Both my mom and my wife were telling me, hey, you should write a book. I really didn't feel I had a story yet. And after I went through my kind of biggest physical transformation about 5 years ago, I felt that I really did have that solid story to be able to tell. So that's where it kind of changed, and I kicked it into high gear, and I was like, okay, it's really time to tell this story. And, Disable Your Disability is very specific as far as the theme of it, my physical well-being, dealing with the disability, getting healthy, getting fit, really kind of looking at that aspect of it in life. I really don't go into a lot of the emotional, mental relationships, those types of things. That'll be the next book. But in this book, it's very specific. So I wanted to write it. Once I went through my big transformation, I realized, I have a solid story that I want to tell. And that's really what pushed me to sit down and write this book.
So what's this book about? Tell us what you think it's about. I have my own version. So what do you think it's about?
Well, I mean, it's, I like to best describe it as a self-help memoir. The first half of the book is literally telling my story of what I've dealt with physically with my disability. And, starts from when I was born, and we talk about OI. I talk about osteogenesis imperfecta, what it is, what effect it had on me kind of throughout my life, and then really what it had to do, how it related to me health-wise. And then, that's kind of the first half of the book, and talking about how I got unhealthy because of the disability. And then how I got through that, and how I transformed, and how I was able to see it from a new perspective and get healthy and get fit and understand it and really embrace it. And then the second half of the book is a how-to. It's a self-help. It's really like, here's some key components and some concepts that I've come up with to help you do the same thing. And it really gets down to it. It's like, let's talk about the mental game. Let's talk about how to exercise. Let's talk about how to eat better. And, that's really the second half of the book. So it's a well-rounded kind of self-help memoir.
I like that. A self-help memoir. I was going to say, it's basically Tony's story. That's how I see it. It's like, this is my story. This is what I went through. This is what I did. And if this inspires you, then join me on that journey. That's how
Exactly.
I felt, that it was exactly like that. It was really very well written. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, yeah. I want to know if I'm correct in saying that at the beginning, you were very honest, and I felt as if you spoke about a pity party that you had with yourself. And, The thing about pity parties is that nobody goes to them. So you're all alone in a pity party. And this pity party that you speak of caused you to, gain weight? What happened in this pity party? How do you get to that point?
Well, for me, I would say with a pity party, more people will join that than you think. More people are willing to join your pity party than you think. So it can be a lonely place, but it can also be a place where too many people come and try and join the party. And that's where we get stuck. And for me, it was a few different stages through life, but my biggest thing was just the fear of being physical. My fear of breaking bones, my fear of pushing myself. And that's really what stopped me from being healthy, because it was just across the board. If I couldn't exercise and couldn't be physical, then there's no way that I could be fit. There's no way that I could gain muscle. There's no way that I could lose fat. So, I really didn't even have it in my consciousness that it could be something, a possibility for me. So I just lived life to the fullest, kind of just did my thing, ate what I wanted, drank what I wanted. I wasn't physical. I would sit at my computer all the day. I would not do anything physical. So it really was that, fear in me of, I can't push myself. I can never be really fit or healthy, so why bother? And that was where I lived for many years. So it wasn't until I was able to kind of flip that switch and understand something different that I was able to change.
I think it's, listening to you talk, it's like, in my mind, it's just telling you that you're a giant. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, the guy had OI, but he's 5 feet tall, and now he walks. What's his problem? Because you see, we all have our own perspective of our own situation. So someone with my level might be like, Tony, snap out of it. You're tall, you're this, you're that. But in your perspective at that time, you're like, no, it's that fear that if I do work out, I'm going to break a bone. And the pain that goes with it, and the setback, and the lack of independence, and all that. You tell yourself all that, and there's paralysis, the fear.
Yeah.
It just totally paralyzes you. So I think that you would agree that sometimes fear is our biggest disability. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the number one thing that stops us. That is the disability. That's what disables us. And it really, we have to get past that. And I always talk about that, within through my sharing in the OI community. I always talk about the comparative suffering and saying, hey, look, we all have different types. We're all in different situations, but we can all do something. So, I struggle with that when I'm trying to help someone, say, that has type 3 or more severe, even type 1. They do give me that where they're like, man, you're good. You can walk, so I can't do what you can do. And I say, but it's not about that. It's about what you can do. It's not about what I can do. So it is really kind of working with that fear and saying, you got to push yourself. You got to try something new. Let's talk about what you can do instead of what you can't do, because that was a big thing for me. I always talked about what I couldn't do. That was the first thing that I would go to. And that was driven by fear of things. But once I realized, when I start focusing positive and start focusing on things that I can do, you realize, I can do a lot more than I thought. And even to this day, even after everything that I've been through, there's still things that I look at and I know I physically maybe can't do that thing, but you know what? I can do a version of it. I can adapt it and modify it and do my version of it so that I can still do something. And I think that's the point. You always got to just do something. You got to move and you got to change that perspective. And it goes across the board with exercise, with eating better, with just being positive in life, with just the simplest things in life. Too many of people that have disabilities are looking at what they can't do. And it's really like, we got to what we can do, because there's a lot on that list also.
When the more you see what you can do, the less fear you have. I feel like one will take away from the other. The more fear you have, the less you feel you can do. So when I read your book, I'm always a very physical person anyway. But when I read your book, I said, you know what? That's true. And even if you have a severe disability, like severe OI, maybe you cannot really exercise the way maybe I can, the way you can. But there's more to your health than just movement. There's what you put in your mouth. There's what you put in your head. And there's what you put in your heart.
Yes. And those are the biggest pieces right there. That's where everyone has to start. And then everything else follows suit.
I agree. And that's why when I read the book, I go, this is the beginning of something great. So now that I think it's been a year since it's been out. Would that be accurate? I'm not sure.
I think it's just over 2 years now. In February 2017, I released it. Yeah.
Now, you and I know each other from social media with your Twitter handle, I think it is. So you have a Twitter account, right?
I have, yeah. I have a few.
It's the one
yeah,
with,
I got it all.
Disability, something like that? Is that the one?
Well, my original was Disable Your Disability. And then most recent, like last year, I kind of changed everything to I Am Tony Jacobsen. But I recently started a new Instagram called Disabled and Healthy. So that's kind of a new one where I'm really focusing on just putting out my kind of healthy living stuff. But
Okay, so say it again slowly for everyone who's listening.
It's Disabled and Healthy.
Okay.
So
But
just
that's
as
the
spelled,
Instagram
just as it
handle.
sounds.
It's at Disabled and Healthy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now that's the one that's focused mainly on my fitness stuff, but just all my other social medias, I am Tony Jacobsen. So you can really pretty much find me through all that.
That's good. So I'm going to check that one out because I didn't know about that. We better promote that out there because people need to know. Yeah, I was like, what? I don't know this. I feel like I always know your latest. Now I'm in the loop. I'm like, okay, I feel better now. What have you found after people have read it? Has it had a good response? What have you felt?
Yeah, definitely. It's been an amazing journey because I've gotten all sorts of feedback from it, from people with OI, from people who have other types of disabilities, from people who don't have disabilities. Maybe they have a loved one that has disability. And then just from people in general, because I have a lot of friends that read the book. They don't have a disability. They don't know. I'm the only one maybe that they know that has a disability. And, they said they learned a lot about me and they learned a lot about just what someone with a disability thinks about, like a physical disability, the thoughts that kind of go through someone's head. So, and then it's even pushed some people that I know to just start to get healthy, which is pretty cool. Just they're sitting there saying, man, if Tony can do it with this fragile bone thing going on, man, I got no excuse. Let's do it. I need to get healthy. So it's been a great response. I've gotten, a lot of good reviews on Amazon. And if you've read the book, please go to Amazon and give me a review. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I'm looking forward to telling more stories and telling more of my story. Because now it's been about 6 years since my bigger transformation. And now things have changed in this last 5 years. So I'm thinking I need to put something out new that's going to tell even more of the story of the aftermath of that transformation and what it's meant. So yeah, it's been a really great, a really great journey, a really great experience being able to do more within the OI community because I love the community. I love being able to help as many people as possible. I train people, I coach people online, and it's changed my life because I really do a lot of new things from the release of the book. It's like I've found myself meeting a lot of new people and doing a lot of different new things.
That's great. Now I see that your shirt is yellow, and I'm hoping it's going to come out on Wishbone J. So have you ever been to an OI conference?
Yeah, I've been to 2 regional conferences. The 2 that's held out here in LA. I have not been to the national conference.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was going to go last year in where it was Baltimore, but my schedule didn't work out. So I'm hoping to go next year in 2020 to that one. So yeah, I really would like to go and be a part of it. I mean, the regional conferences are great. I would advise people to go to your regional conference, the OIF regional conference, and experience it because it is great to meet people. But yeah, I've been able to go to 2 and I actually get to speak and be a part of panels there. And that's been an amazing experience. And meeting a lot of people has just been a whirlwind because I didn't know this many people with OI before I really got involved with the community. So it's just great to know that, I'm not alone. There's people just like me and we can talk about stuff.
Well, I was just talking to some other OI ladies and we all met at an OI conference, a national one. So I definitely think that you need to be at the next national one because regional is just like a little dot. But when you see all the people from all over, and then they're going to see you and they're going to say, hey, I know that guy. That guy wrote a book. That guy this. And then it's going to be more impactful. It's a way for you to touch people one-on-one because we all agree that the national one is not so much the seminars that the OIF puts out, but the social time. our time to bond
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
So I really hope, I look forward to seeing you at the next one. It's better be there. How can we get one of those shirts? Did you put that out there?
Yeah, absolutely. This is last year's design, Breaking Barriers Not Bones. I have a new design that's out for this year. I just haven't gotten mine, actually. It's coming in the next few days. But it says, I'm breaking barriers, not bones. And on the back of this shirt, it says OI awareness, acceptance, and awesomeness, because it is about those three concepts and about those 3 points. It's bringing awareness, it's bringing the acceptance, right? That was the one that you and I even spoke about specifically. And then really just the awesomeness that OI is, you know? So you can get this shirt by visiting disableyourdisability.com. If you go to the website, go to the shop there, you're going to see the link to be able to get the shirts. And that's how you find it, disableyourdisability.com. That's where you can find out pretty much all my stuff. You can get the book. You can find out about my online courses and whatnot. And then also the shop where you can get the shirts.
That's great, because, you know, the world has Tony Robbins, and the OI community has Tony Jacobsen. So this is a Tony
you.
and Tony.
Thank you so
You know?
much. That is amazing. Thank you.
That's what it feels like. It's a positive conversation with you. And I think that when we have a lot of OI issues, sometimes it can overwhelm us. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, unless our mind is set to deal with these things, it's almost like, I feel that we must set ourselves up with a strong foundation. Because at times we can be a deck of cards or a house of cards, you know. So then when one card falls, if we don't have a solid foundation, all our cards will fall. And I've seen a lot of people with OI as well as other disabilities that one thing happens to them and they feel like their world has crumbled down. And, you know, I feel that your book allows people to say, things are going to happen. And it's up to us to, you know, set up a plan of action. You know what I'm saying? Like an insurance. What steps do you take, maybe on a daily basis, to make sure that you're feeding your mind, your body, your soul, in case something does happen to you?
For me, it is really all about self-improvement on a daily basis. Always learning, always being open to being coachable, meaning like I listen to other people's opinions and I look for ways to improve myself daily. Be it with exercise, being with eating something good, looking at my nutrition, just education as far as reading books, reading articles, watching YouTube videos from people like Tony Robbins and other people that are motivators and people that inspire me. So I think it's just having a consciousness, an awareness of knowing that we can always be better in every single aspect, and knowing that I don't have all the answers, knowing that I need to look for answers and I need to be inquisitive and keep going, because I'm 47 years old, but I'm still young, so I've got a lot to learn. There's a lot of people older than I am that have been through experiences that I haven't been through. So I look to my elders and other people that I can learn from. I also look at younger folks too, because they're making moves that I want to make. So, I'm constantly learning. And I think that's the thing, being open and just, questioning, looking for something new, and just doing my best to stay positive in every situation and knowing that, there's good in everything. I think for us, especially with OI, we understand what it means to break a bone, right? And we understand what that means, like you were talking about earlier, the setback that means. And we equate that to a lot of things in life. So if we get broken in another aspect of life, it ends up being the same thing where, man, it's knocking me out. I'm going to be out for 8 weeks healing. I'm going to be laid up in bed. I'm going to lose out on my relationships. So it's a whole list of things that we go through. And I think with us OIers, we've let that creep into every aspect of our life. And I think that's where I've understood that now. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be broken in any aspect of life. Like, I know I'm going to heal immediately if something gets broken. So I try and just keep that positive mentality, and I surround myself with the right people. That's another big one. You got to put the team together. You got to surround yourself with the right people that are going to uplift you and not bring you down and not tell you can't do something, and not, always talk about your disability but they're aware of your disability. So the team is very specific. The people that you surround yourself with is important. And that's how I do it, daily. It's a daily thing too. There's not a day that goes by where you don't have to have that consciousness and think about it. If you just go unconscious around this stuff, you can easily go down the road to depression, which is where a lot of us end up if we let ourselves, especially if we are broken. If we do have a broken bone or we're going through the healing process, it can easily go there. So you have to be conscious. You got to take that effort to really push yourself.
You're right. I agree with you, because I think sometimes I have to tell myself, I could break today. Something could happen today. But let me make sure my bones can break, but I can't let my soul break. I can't let my spirit break. I have to me, sometimes that's way more important than any other part. Because I'm going to break. I have this disability. It's going to happen. Right now, I'm in, I guess, February, March, April. We're going on maybe my third or fourth month healing a broken pelvis or hip, whatever it is, that I broke. Because guess what? Nobody can find out what I broke. We just know I broke something. So a lot of people with OI, they focus too much on the breaking part instead of, let's focus on the part that's not broken. And it's just like the physical part about exercising. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. Don't focus on the fact that something is broken. Focus on the part that's strong. My spirit is strong.
Yeah.
My mind is strong. I feel that when I listen to your talk and then I hear your posts, I read your posts, and then, of course, I read the book, then I'm thinking, he's got to be doing something on a daily basis to maintain that, to keep that going. And I think that Zig Ziglar said that motivation is just like taking a shower. You got to do something every day to keep it going. That's why I was asking you what you're doing. What do you think that you feel that other people right now can take? What can they do while their book arrives? Because you can do a hardcover book or you can do the ebook. Am I right for your book? You can purchase either or.
Yeah, you can get the paperback. You can get ebook on Kindle, and you can also get the audio version.
Wow.
So it's on Audible as well. I narrated the book.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I produced the whole audiobook for it, so that's available on Audible. And so you get to listen to my voice for 5 hours, and I read through the whole book, so it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
But
so what can they do until they get that book?
Until they get it, until you get into it and read it, just be aware of your body. Just to touch on what we were talking about earlier, what you can do every day, be conscious of your movements. A lot of people just kind of go unconscious throughout the day and just do whatever. I hear a lot about accidents. Oh, I slipped. Oh, I fell. Oh, I moved this the wrong way. It's because we go unconscious with our movement. So you have to think about that. I think about that every single day. I want to stay strong. And I know I'm strong, and I'm getting strong because I'm still aware of my movements. Where am I stepping? Where am I walking? How am I lifting something? How am I moving throughout the day? How am I picking something up off the table? I'm aware now. So I'm preventing injury by doing that. By just being conscious of my movement and aware of my surroundings, it's helping me every single day to avoid that injury. So that's what people can start doing right now. They can right now start looking at their kitchen and what they're eating. I know it's a big thing, but they can start looking at that and just really getting aware and wrap their heads around the foods that they're eating and knowing that, what's bad for you, what's good for you. Let's just shift it and start eating some more of those good things, You don't have to do it all at once, but just start by doing something, right? And really every day just, connect with me. I have a YouTube channel, and I have a lot of videos on there that are positive and informative, so you can go to check out my videos and watch a bunch of those. There's a lot of other people, too, that are, just motivators, people that give you inspiration. And really look for something positive every single day that can put a smile on your face and just uplift you every single day. And I think that's what people can start doing right now, today, and then order the book, and then get the book, and then read the book, and then you're going to be good. No. But I think, it's all a process. This isn't the end all either. This is just a step in the process to get you going, to, give you some motivation, give you some inspiration to really see that you can do more than you think. And that's really what it comes down to. No matter what severity of OI you have, there is always something you can do. So just know that.
I want to touch upon inspiration porn because, I was talking to you one time and I said, oh my God, I feel like I'm being attacked left and right on Twitter and social media because I speak out, and I think that there's a fine line in inspiration porn. And for some of us in the disabled community, we kind of, Matt Roloff once told me, he said that sometimes the disabled community is like crabs in a bucket. Instead of boosting each other up, they like pull each other down. And what do you think about that?
Well, I absolutely agree. It has been a strange journey, again, through the last few years within the even OI community, not just even the disabled community, but just within the OI community, seeing the comparative suffering happening, seeing the lack of support from certain people, being attacked by certain people, because that's happened too, That's all part of the process. As you gain more notoriety and you get out there more, of course, people are going to have their opinions. And it's totally great. But I do feel the same thing where it's like, yeah, look, I'm not trying to outshine anybody here. We're all doing the same thing. In fact, I tell people, I say, dude, go write a book. Like, you should write a book too. Nathasha, I want to read your book. I did a video.
It's going to come out.
Yeah, I did a video specifically that was, 5 books about OI. It's like I'm trying to promote OI just in general. So I'm not trying to outshine anybody. I'm like, dude, let's help each other out. So, it's been a really kind of strange thing. And when it comes to the inspiration stuff, I don't believe in that because I feel that everybody can be an inspiration to somebody. It doesn't matter if you have a disability. It doesn't matter if you're just a normal type of person, whatever that means. Everybody can be an inspiration to somebody. And my thing is, we should not try and stop that. If you can be an inspiration to somebody from the simplest things that you do, then let that happen. Because that's the universe doing something that we don't understand. That's a bigger power doing something, within the matrix that we don't get. So why stop that? If someone says I'm an inspiration to them, I'm like, awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. Whatever I can do for you. How can I help? I'm not the guy that's like, oh, don't call me an inspiration, just because I'm, I can do this simple thing. I'm the guy that's like, no, if I can help somebody change their life for the positive, I'm going to let it happen.
So and I think that's... Well, I'm sorry, but what do you think is inspiration porn?
Like for me, that's the thing. Like, I don't see it like that. I think that puts a negative connotation on what an inspiration is. Just attaching porn to it. Like for me, that's a negative connotation to what an inspiration is supposed to be. So for me, I don't look at it that way. An inspiration is something positive. An inspiration changes you for the better. So I don't look at that and put any negativity towards it. I look at it and I say, look, if someone gets inspired by that, fine. There's a lot more pros to it than cons. If someone, it's very specific to how people break it down of what is considered inspiration porn. And so for me, when I started hearing that term and I started hearing people talk about it, like, again, I just didn't look at it that way. I just don't see it that way. So I don't really engage in it. I say, you know what?
Let me help you and see if maybe you consider this inspiration porn. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I agree with everything you said. Everything. We're down on the same page. This is what I would consider inspiration porn. I get out of my car, and as soon as I get out of my car, someone comes up to me and says, "You're inspiring." And I'm like, I didn't do anything inspiring yet, but if you hang out with me a little bit more, then maybe you got to have some contracts with the word inspiring. So, for example, you're working out, you wrote a book. I find that inspiring, Just because a person has OI or MD or MS or anything else, and they're at a restaurant eating, and somebody comes up to you and says, you're inspiring because I'm at a restaurant eating. See, that is that line of inspiration porn. Or when somebody with a disability gets asked out to the prom by a non-disabled person, and then they make it seem like that's so inspiring. What part is inspiring? The fact that the girl is saying yes to a non-disabled guy, or I feel like when it becomes condescending, then we're on borderline inspiration porn. But I feel that what you say, if we're doing something and it makes someone say, man, that person's got a positive attitude, that's inspiring, then I don't consider that inspiration porn. But I do consider the other examples that I gave to be inspiration porn. Would you agree or disagree? Which one is that one?
I would, again, it's a fine line. I don't agree or agree. I think it can be definitely a fine line between those things. When it comes to those stories that we hear, like you're saying, when, any of those news stories that happen, I mean, they're telling those because they are trying to show people something positive in life, right? I feel that we don't need to do something great to be an inspiration. And I think that's, my own opinion. It can be the simplest thing. But if it helps somebody change for the positive, then I think that's a great thing. So if you are getting out of your car and someone's like, oh man, we don't know what's going on in that person's life. We don't know what hardships that person is facing to actually come up to you and say that, just from this simple thing of seeing you clearly, someone that has a disability that's, dealing with the wheelchair, getting out of the car, just this kind of what we consider simple, right? You consider it simple. You do it every day. It's no big deal. But we don't know what's going on for that person. Maybe they have something that's way more traumatic than we know. And they go, man, you're an inspiration. This is really going to change me, right? Because that's what they're saying, essentially, in you're an inspiration. So they may go away and, man, their whole life changes just because you got out of your car. You know what? I love it. I love that because I'm like, yeah, let it be, man. You just changed someone's life just by doing the simplest thing. And I always kind of equate it to The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson. I like that dude. I love that dude. He's an inspiration to me, right? And I see him. What if I went up to The Rock and I was like, man, you're an inspiration. And in his mind, he's like, well, I'm just working out. I'm just exercising. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just living my life. Dude, that would kill me. That would crush me. I would be like, oh, shit. Excuse my language.
I'll bleep it.
Okay. That would kind of crush me because I would be like, then that little spark of inspiration couldn't happen. So when I think about, creating inspiration for someone, for me, it's really it could be the simplest thing. So I don't feel it needs to be something great because I look at other fellow OIers, people that aren't as severe as I am, people that are more severe than I am. I get inspiration from everybody because I just kind of see and I let that inspiration come to me. So
I like that.
For me, when it comes down to
you're telling us put your mind in the other person's shoes. See, what is it? Maybe something so simple that I did do, but to them, they need to do something very simple, and it's not happening.
Exactly.
And I come along, and I'm like, I did it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some people say they're offended when it's they see them out shopping or something, and it's like, oh man, you're such an inspiration. Yeah, maybe that person hasn't left their house in months. Maybe they have something where they've been so depressed and disabled on their own because they haven't gotten out of bed for 3 months. But then they see you, they're like, oh man, you're such an inspiration. Just let it happen. Let it happen because that's something that we don't understand. That's the universe doing something. That's something working in the back, behind the scenes that, maybe you need that inspiration for that somebody and let them, have something positive.
You've made me change my mind about that. However, I still don't like those videos when an able-bodied person asks a disabled person to the prom. That to me is that to me is not inspiring. You know why? Because I went to the prom with a guy that's not disabled. So what?
Yeah.
Where's my video? How come I'm not going viral? You know?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
What
But
is
it's
that?
funny. But it's funny because you'll see things in the media where, it's that situation, or you'll see two people that both have disability and they make a video about that. And so it's just really weird how people's perspectives are different. But I think it's the acceptance and kind of awareness of the different perspectives that we have to be conscious of, and just kind of cool out a little bit. Because I think people get angry too much about that stuff. And there's bigger fights to fight than worrying about that. There's bigger fights to fight. If you want to advocate, then advocate and do it, and really, pick your battle and really go in, because there's bigger battles to fight. So that's how I view it.
I think that sometimes we can't change their mind anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Why are we doing that? Like you said, there are bigger battles, healthcare for people and wheelchairs and medical, and we don't have time here to argue about, you think it's inspiring, I don't think it's inspiring, move on, you think it's a good movie,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good movie, move on,
Exactly. There's a lot of infighting amongst us, of saying, oh, well, you shouldn't do that, or you should, and it's why are we even arguing with each other? There's other things that we should be combining forces on and getting out there and working together to, bring awareness,
I know that our time has come to an end, and I'm inviting you again to come on the show, because there are a lot of other topics that I know my viewers are going to want, because I've done a lot of research before I started this podcast, and the stuff that people want to know is the stuff that you want to say. So we're going to end it with, when they finish watching this video and they go to your website, which we're going to have at the end credits as well, so people can go to it. It's going to be a link and everything like that. Tell us what your plans are for the next 5 years when it comes to your journey and your purpose.
Okay, for me on a personal level, I just started a new exercise program, and I want to work on my body still, because it's always a work in progress. So for me personally, I'm working on my body. I want to make sure that I'm the strongest and healthiest I can be by the time I'm 50. So I got 3 years, right? I'm 47 now. So I'm personally going to just keep growing, keep learning, live my life injury-free, see how I can really make myself stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So that's personally. With everything that I'm doing within the OI community and with my books. And so I'm going to write more books. I'm working on the next one now. And then I've already got the next 2 planned out of what I want to do after that. I'm creating videos on my YouTube channel. So I really want to get out there and, just like you with this podcast, just create as much content as possible to not only help fellow OIers, but again, bring more awareness. So when people are searching for things, they can find the information easily. I want to do, and this is something I want to talk about too, is actual live events. So I have my first one planned for September of this year. It's called Celebrating OI Life. It's going to be out here in Los Angeles, and I'm inviting you personally. You better come. But basically what I wanted to do was, after visiting the conferences, I realized that we need to have a place where we can kind of talk about stuff and have more of that social aspect for the entire thing. So it's a roundtable discussion. It's going to be a small group of people that are really going to dig into what it means to live with OI. So it's called Celebrating OI Life. Again, you can find out about it on the website. I haven't launched the actual tickets yet, or the way to register, but you can pre-register right now. And we're going to reach capacity. The first one is only 50 people, because I want to make sure that we all have a chance to talk. And it's really going to be about sharing our stories, sharing our experiences, and really learning from each other about what it means to live with OI. I think we hear a lot from the medical community already, especially at the conferences that the OIF does, and I love it. But there's another aspect to this, and I think it's just our journeys together. So Celebrating OI Life is going to be all about that, us sharing our experiences.
That's
so
fantastic.
I'm gonna work on those. I'm gonna try and do those every year, and just kind of grow that concept out and see where that goes. And again, just continue to get in front of the camera, get behind the camera, create content, and just keep doing what I'm doing and just make it grow.
That's fantastic. I'm really glad we had this conversation, and I do hope you take me up on the invite for another episode, because that's going to be awesome. And if you and your wife are ever in Miami, you let me know. I'll pick you guys up, show you the place, and we can just paint the town OI, which is everywhere we go, it'll be a yellow mark. We've been here.
Yes, absolutely. No, we will definitely take you up on that.
Good. I hope you do. So thank you very much, and until next time, thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Ciao.
Thank you.